Examples of success through failure. Imagine a world without light bulbs. Can you picture that? No late-night reading, no brightly lit streets. It almost happened. Thomas Edison, one of the greatest inventors in history, could have given up after hundreds or even thousands of failed attempts to create the light bulb. But here's the thing. He didn't see his failed attempts as the end. Instead, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Every failure brought him closer to success. But it's not just Edison. Take Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest basketball player in history. Did you know he was once cut from his high school basketball team? Jordan himself admits he missed more than 9,000 shots, lost nearly 300 games, and missed the game-winning shot 26 times. And yet, those failures are what drove him to work harder and become the legend we know today. What if I told you that fear of failure is actually fear of success in disguise? Most of us are afraid to fail because we think it's final. But in reality, failure is just another step in the journey to success. Today, I'm going to show you how embracing failure could be the key to unlocking your true potential. Buckle up, because by the end of this video, your perception of failure will be transformed. The failure paradox. Let me introduce you to something called the failure paradox. It's this strange situation we all face. The more we fear failure, the less we try, and the less we try, the further we move away from success. It's like standing on the edge of a cliff, knowing that the leap could bring you to something extraordinary, but you're frozen in fear.
Why?
Because that leap requires risking failure. Here's the catch. The leap is the only way forward. Failing is not the opposite of success. It's part of the path to it. We're conditioned to see failure as an end point, a dead end, rather than what it really is, a detour that helps us find a better route. So let's dive into the paradox and see how we can break through the fear that holds us back. The failure paradox. At the heart of this paradox is our fear of failing. We think, what if I mess up? What if I'm not good enough? These thoughts run through our minds, making us hesitate, doubt, and sometimes even quit before we've really started. But here's the truth that no one talks about enough. Failure is not the problem. Fear is. Fear of failure paralyzes us, keeps us in our comfort zones, and prevents us from taking risks that could lead to breakthroughs. The problem isn't that we're failing, it's that we're not even giving ourselves a chance to fail. And if we never fail, we never grow. Failure, in its essence, is the universe's way of saying, you're learning. It's the best feedback loop for growth. Every mistake, every setback is packed with lessons that push us closer to where we want to be. The growth mindset. So, how do we overcome this fear of failure? By adopting what psychologists call a growth mindset. Now, what exactly does that mean? A growth mindset is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through hard work, dedication, and learning from mistakes. It's the mindset that says, I'm not there yet, but I'm getting closer with each attempt. Let's go back to Edison. He didn't start out knowing how to invent the light bulb. It took him countless experiments and thousands of failed trials. But with each failure, he didn't say, I'm a failure. He said, I'm learning what doesn't work. The same can be said for Michael Jordan. His growth mindset didn't allow him to give up after missing that game-winning shot. Instead, it drove him to work harder, train longer, and shoot better. What if you approached every challenge this way? What if, instead of seeing failure as a permanent state, you saw it as a stepping stone to improvement? That's the power of a growth mindset. It transforms failure into fuel for future success. Reframing failure. Now, let's talk about another powerful tool, reframing. This is one of the most effective strategies for turning failure into a positive experience. Reframing is about shifting your perspective, about seeing failure not as something bad, but as a necessary part of growth. Imagine you're a student and you just got your exam results. You didn't do as well as you hoped. The first thought that comes to mind might be, I'm not smart enough, or I'll never succeed. But what if instead you thought, this is just feedback? It's telling me where I need to improve. Failure is like a road sign. It's not there to stop you. It's there to guide you. And when you look at it that way, it becomes an opportunity. It's no longer a reflection of your worth, but a signal pointing you toward the areas where you need to grow. Here's another example. Think about any entrepreneur who's made it big, whether it's Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, or Elon Musk. Each one of them has faced public failures, from losing jobs to bankruptcies. But they reframed those experiences as lessons. They saw each failure as a chance to refine their approach and become stronger. So, the next time you fail, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? That single question can shift your mindset and transform your experience of failure. Self-compassion. Another powerful way to overcome the fear of failure is through self-compassion. Now, self-compassion doesn't mean making excuses for your mistakes. It means treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a close friend. Think about it. When a friend fails at something, what do you say? It's okay, you'll do better next time. You've got this. But when we fail, we're often our harshest critics. We beat ourselves up, sometimes so much that we're too afraid to try again. Self-compassion changes that. It allows you to acknowledge your failure without letting it define you. When you fail, instead of saying, "I'm such a failure," try saying, "I tried, and I can learn from this." It's okay to make mistakes. This mindset helps you bounce back quicker, and it builds resilience. Research even shows that people who practice self-compassion are more likely to take risks and try new things because they know they won't punish themselves if they fail. So, be kind to yourself. Failure is a natural part of life, and giving yourself the grace to fail will help you succeed in the long run. Taking risks. Now, let's talk about risk. Risk and failure go hand in hand. In fact, every time you take a risk, you're opening yourself up to the possibility of failure. But here's the thing. Without risk, there is no reward. Think about some of the most successful people you know, whether they're business leaders, athletes, or artists. Every single one of them took risks, and they failed at times. But those failures are what paved the way for their success. The truth is, staying in your comfort zone is the biggest risk of all. Why? Because nothing grows there. If you want to achieve something big, something meaningful, you have to be willing to step outside of your comfort zone and face the possibility of failure. Every risk you take, whether it's starting a new business, applying for a job, or even asking someone out on a date, teaches you something about yourself. It builds character. It builds resilience. And ultimately, it brings you closer to success. So the next time you're afraid to take a risk because you might fail, remind yourself that failure is just part of the process. Without it, you'll never reach your full potential. The failure quota. Now, I want to introduce you to a unique concept that could completely change how you think about failure. The failure quota. This might sound strange at first, but bear with me. Instead of setting goals for how much success you want to achieve, what if you set a goal for how many times you're willing to fail? For example, you could aim to experience 5 failures a week, whether it's getting rejected for a job, pitching an idea that doesn't land, or trying a new hobby that doesn't go well. Why would you do this? Because when failure becomes part of the goal, it loses its power over you. You stop seeing it as something to be avoided and start seeing it as a stepping stone to success. With a failure quota, you start to take more risks, push yourself harder, and open up new opportunities. The more you fail, the more you learn. The more you learn, the closer you get to your goals. So, ask yourself, how many times are you willing to fail this week? How many risks are you willing to take? Set your quota and go after it. Because with every failure, you're one step closer to where you want to be. The failure celebration ritual. Let me introduce you to a revolutionary concept, the failure celebration ritual. It's simple, yet incredibly powerful. Instead of treating failure as a negative experience, we can actually celebrate it. Yes, you heard that right, celebrate failure. Every time we fail, we're given a unique opportunity to learn, grow, and get better. So, why not make it part of a celebration? Imagine you've just failed at a project. Instead of beating yourself up or feeling discouraged, you can choose to celebrate this moment. How? Maybe by throwing a small failure party with friends or simply by recording it in a failure journal. This might sound strange at first, but it's actually a transformative way to change your perspective on failure. Rather than letting failure define you, you make it part of your personal growth ritual. You reframe the experience into something positive, something to be acknowledged and learned from. This isn't just a mindset shift. It's a practice that can be applied to every aspect of your life, from career setbacks to personal challenges. By embracing this ritual, you stop fearing failure and start welcoming it as part of the journey toward success. Failure parties. Now, let's dive deeper into one of the most fun aspects of the failure celebration ritual, failure parties. These parties are a creative way to accept failure and make it a positive experience. The idea is simple. Gather a group of friends or family members and organize a small party where you openly share and laugh about your failures. Think about it, you and your friends sitting around, sharing the mistakes you've made, the projects that didn't go as planned, or the opportunities that slipped away. But instead of feeling ashamed or embarrassed, you laugh at your failures, joke about them, and learn from each other's experiences. This will not only make failure feel less daunting, but will also help you realize that failing is a normal and essential part of life. But the benefits go beyond just humor. By involving others in your journey, you're building a strong support system. Friends and family can offer encouragement, feedback, and new perspectives, making the process of bouncing back from failure faster and more meaningful. You'll also feel less lonely, knowing that everyone, even your closest friends, experiences failure. And together, you'll grow stronger after each setback. Failure journal. Alongside failure parties, there's another powerful tool that can transform how you view failure, the failure journal. A failure journal is exactly what it sounds like, a dedicated space where you write down every failure you experience. But here's the twist. Don't just record the failure itself. After noting the failure, reflect on it. Write down the lessons you learned. For example, say you failed a test or didn't land a job you really wanted. In your journal, instead of just writing, "I failed," you might add, "I didn't prepare enough for the interview, and next time I'll spend more time researching the company." Or, "I rushed through my exam preparation, and next time I'll start studying earlier." The goal is to not only track your failures, but to use them as stepping stones for future success. Over time, this journal becomes a tangible record of your growth. You'll see how far you've come, how much you've learned, and how failure has shaped your journey for the better. When you look back, it becomes an inspiring story of resilience and perseverance, a story that reminds you that failure isn't the end. It's a crucial part of your success story. Embracing failure. As we wrap up, I want you to remember this. Failure is not the end of the road, it's just a bend in the road. Every failure you experience is another lesson learned, another opportunity to grow, and another chance to become better than you were yesterday. Failure doesn't define you. What defines you is how you respond to it. The people who succeed in life are not the ones who avoid failure at all costs. They're the ones who embrace it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. So the next time you're afraid of failing, remind yourself, this is part of the journey. This is what success looks like. It's messy, it's full of setbacks, but it's also full of breakthroughs. Don't let the fear of failure hold you back. Instead, let it push you forward. Embrace failure, learn from it, and watch as you grow into the person you were always meant to be. If you find this video helpful, kindly hit the like and subscribe button.